Welcome to virtual Japan as we are here today for round number 6.
Oh, Pearson gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona and away. Go for the first time, Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Doms, possibly a little bit of contact.
Up now as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let it go very far.
Go out here for Circuit Spa Francorchamps. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
See just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the YesterYear Racing Cup Series here at the Old Bastards Racing League. It is round 1 of the playoffs, and we're at Atlanta Motor Speedway, getting ready to watch these Titans do battle. As always, I'm your host, James East, with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Breathe the action 1080p on a beautiful Sunday night, as it looks like our drivers starting to get onto the grid here today. 35 entries to set the stage. On pole, it's Jerry Isaacs in the number 1 spot. We've got Roger Hurley starting 2nd, Josh Robinson starting 3rd, Tom Ogle starting 4th, Dan Trashcan Hill starting 5th, Michael Everhart starting 6th, Lloyd Moore starting 7th, Brian Lindsay starting 8th, TJ Rogers starts 9th, Robert Smooth Criminal Garisco starting 10th, Brian Lynch starting 11th, Gavin Adams starting 12th, cycle it on back, Wayne Hufford starting 13th. Clay Walker starting 14th. Larry Corey starts 15th. Lee Warsdale starting 16th. Sean Foltz starting 17th. Lonnie Corey starting 18th. We've got Dakota Pischke starting 19th. Greg Hammond starting 20th. William Martin starting 21st. Patrick Martindale starting 22nd. Greg McDaniel starting 23rd. Tom Massey starting 24th. Cycling it back one final time. Victor Lane starting 25th. Mr. Kevin Strandberg starting 26th, Eric McCluskey starting 27th, Andy Thomas starting 28th, Chris Bates starting 29th, Al Turner starting 30th, John Hastings starts 31st, Mark Fish starts 32nd, Chris Sidner starting 33rd, Jeff Lyden starts 34th, and Alan Wanamaker, Mr. YesterYear himself, will round out the 35-car grid here today. Let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on. I see K-Nice, Nice maybe, Iron Spider, Pac-Man CT, Jeremy Mayo, all join us in the spectator area early on here. $35 drivers, 130 laps here tonight. Now, it looks like we have no true triple-digit drivers here this evening, so everybody was able to have an at least attempt at qualifying here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. As we get ready for that iRacing safety car to make its way down pit road. I think that might be a new paint for Jerry Isaacs running the Woody Woodpecker on the side of the 51 machine. A very clean paint scheme. The green flag is out and we are underway. Our first round of the playoffs here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hurley and Isaac side by side up front. There's Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle, the two Team Miata teammates. They're both second in line in the lower and high side. Now, drivers were telling us how greasy the track was in practice and qualifying. It's going to be interesting to see how that lends itself to the racing here at Atlanta. Hurley taking over the race lead with Ogle giving him a push from behind. Isaac's going to fall back to about the 4th place spot here. There's Titanium Everhart up on the high side. And the number 71, he's up 3 spots early on. He's going to drop down to the inside line, taking control of the inside. With Mr. Isaacs right behind, Hurley still leading the charge up top. But Everhart feeling good here at Atlanta. Showing quite a bit of speed early on. We've seen Everhart up front this season based off strategy, but tonight he's uncorking it in the Chevrolet and seeing what he can do here. Let's see if we can grab a tighter angle there. So Everhart, the 71, the pink and white, guarding the inside line, wheels against the double white stripe. He's got Jerry Isaacs behind and towing the inside line. On the high side, it's still Roger Hurley with Tom Ogle joining him. But we are 2 rows wide and as far back as the eye can see here. So far, so good. Now, unfortunately, we don't quite know what the fuel run is going to be for these drivers. So I'm interested to see if we can get some green flag pit stops here tonight. It's one of my favorite things to see here at the OBRL. Allowing the drivers to show their prowess on and off the track. Everhart still holding on to the race lead here. He's up 5 spots. That makes him one of our hard chargers. You got Kevin Strandberg sitting in 20th. He's up 6 positions so far. The inside line definitely seems to have the momentum so far here tonight. As it's Everhart, Isaacs, Robinson, 1, 2, 3, Hurley. Still staying committed up to the high side, but he's dropped back to 5th. Ogle has also fallen back to around that 5th, 6th place position. I believe Ogle, yes, has jumped down to the inside line. Now it's going to be interesting to see where the drivers shift around to as the tires start to fall off here. Now tonight's race not counting for pit stops or cautions, should run just a smidgen over an hour long. Checking back in on Greg McDaniel, the number 1 machine. He's showing up about 5 spots so far. Greg Hammond just ahead, also having a good run up. He's up 4 positions. McDaniel grabs another spot to his name. Now I'm seeing some blinking going on up towards the front. I'm not sure if that's Rogers and the 72 or maybe Lindsay, the number 24. We'll keep an eye out on that. But definitely notice some blinking going on from at least one of the drivers. And when you're pack racing, that does not leave a lot of room for margin. Drivers hitting right around 190 miles an hour on the high banks of Atlanta Motor Speedway. Something has happened to John Hastings, the 32. He comes down pit road. Didn't see any incidents reported on live timing, so not sure what happened to Hastings there. Still leading up front, Isaacs tucked in behind, as well as old Trash Can Hill, the number 7 Ford Mustang. It's 2 Chevrolets out front with Everhart and Isaacs. Hill, our fastest Ford, Fastest Toyota out on the track is going to be Roger Hurley. He's sitting 7th. Speaking of fastest, Sean Foles just clipped off a 29.64. The fastest lap of the race so far here tonight. Now, I've seen the VLS drivers getting some love. I've seen the 74 of Alan Wanamaker getting some love. Curious what the other fan favorites are, as we did have an off-track reported. It's going to be Robert Garisco. Let's get the replay queued up. Looks like he was able to get back on the circuit. I think he kept it pointed the right direction there, the number 28. Let's see what happened to Garisco. It was a big blink there, and then I think he reappeared partway in somebody's bumper. So that's definitely going to be a no-fault incident. Hopefully we don't see somebody come down pit road with a self-served penalty, as it is near impossible to predict if a driver blinks out in front of you where exactly they're going to be when they pop back into existence. Everhart really enjoying the limelight here in the 71. A great run from Titanium so far. He's up those 5 spots. Used up a little bit of tire early on, but very quickly setting the pace for the rest of the field. Now the Adamants here, the YesterYear Racing Cup Series at the OBRL, have done a fantastic job setting the fuel and race distances to guarantee action. As much as we like the realism and the immersion of it being a sim, sometimes the fuel races can get a little bit drab. So these races are set up quite well to keep everybody charging forward for 130 laps. Now, right now you're seeing the top 16 drivers linked up here in a pretty healthy pack. If we go back to Greg McDaniel in 17th place, he's got Larry Corey, Lonnie Corey, Patrick Martindale, Tom Massey, Lee Warsdell, Strandberg, Martin, all here in tow. But they're about 5.6 seconds off that lead pack. So they are either betting on some shenanigans that will ensue up front, or just waiting to get through the pit cycle here. A very tight pack up here in front. I see somebody towards the back. I can't tell. That might have been, no, it wasn't Pischke. Was it Hammond popping out of line briefly there in the 88 to get some clean air on the front of that car? Now, these are fixed setup machines, so everybody's on the exact same setup. So it's relatively difficult to overheat the cars unless you are just perfectly staying in the draft of the guy ahead of you and really leaning on their rear fender. I'm also curious how much more fuel Everhart is burning here, as he is out front pushing all that air. Isaac's in a good spot there. The 51 Chevrolet staying tucked in behind Everhart. He's going to be able to get a little bit more fuel out of that machine now that he's tucked in the draft nice and tidy. 22 laps in, the lap times have really not fallen off too badly. Last time by, Everhart, who's up front, a 30.15. Only 2/10 slower than his fastest lap of the race, so not seeing the aggressive tire fall off that I was really expecting. Now, I've heard from the drivers since the repave here in Atlanta, drives more like a small super speedway than it does the old configuration. So that might be an interesting thing to check out and see throughout tonight's event who opts to take tires, who doesn't. And see if the tire fall off is really going to be much of a factor here tonight. Lloyd Moore, the number 26, hopped out of the inside line. I think that's going to be Robinson and Ogle right behind them, so they might be trying to get something formed up on the high side. But so far, the opening 24 some odd laps, it's definitely been a low-line dominant race. Everhart has been hugging the apron, and it's been very tough for anybody to make their way around that 71. Lane Hufford, the number 75, starting to make some move here as well. He's up 8 positions tonight. The What About Amiobi back, number 75. Hufford, a Twitch streamer, streams all the races that aren't broadcasted from his perspective on Twitch. Always a lot of fun to go back and watch those over again. We talked about how this is the top 16 linked up. They've put about another 6 seconds on the second pack. Greg McDaniel, the number 1 plate, sitting 17th, is now about 12 seconds back from the lead pack. So without that massive draft cushion, with everybody working together, that second pack really falling off here. And it's only about a 30-second lap time, so if we don't have a green flag pit stop or some sort of caution, if these guys stay out to around the lap 50 mark, 50 to 60, you're going to start to see a large portion of the field going a lap down here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Everhart enjoying that clean air, arguably, if it's a super speedway S type of track. About the safest place you can be at is up front. Isaacs still seems to be content running second in that number 51 machine, tucked in behind Everhart. I think he's realizing unless the tires start to fall off here, that if he went to the high side, I don't think they just don't have the steam, it looks like. DJ Rogers, he's on the inside line, the number 72, but now he's got Lloyd Moore join him, the number 26 in the high side. Moore leading the charge from up top. Looks like that's still going to be Robinson, Ogle, and I think Hurley tucked in behind him. And as I say that, Moore must have been listening in. The number 26 machine's gotten some steam here. Isaacs has accompanied him up on the high side. So are we about to be seeing a change here up front? It looks like we are. We're in Isaacs working the outside line. Robinson still in tow. Meanwhile, Everhart's still hugging the inside line. So it seems to me that both lines can be fast. It's just going to be about who's got the momentum and who's got the draft partners to help propel them forward here. Moore squarely taking over the race lead. Both Moore and Isaacs drop down the inside line. That's going to push Everhart back out into third. Now it's Robinson leading the high side here at Atlanta. For the number 26, he's up 6 spots from where he qualified so far this evening. Also have drivers such as Sean Foltz sitting in 10th. He's up 7 positions thus far. As we're going to hint at some 3Y shenanigans. That's going to be Chris Bates, the number 81 machine, trying to move his Toyota all the way up against the wall. It's a bit of a precarious position, as I think I just saw Brian Lynch, the number 9 back Hooters machine. He has a bit of a blink there. But I think we're going to get through this one relatively clean without too many issues. Like Robinson has a good run up here, leading the high side. He's got his teammate Ogle behind, and I think they've also got Hill join them on the high side, as well as I spot a Roger Hurley. So with it being a bit of a 2-car breakaway on the inside line rather briefly, the outside line's going to have some momentum here. Here comes Robinson. He's got a nose on Moore. I don't think Robinson's going to clear himself, though, down the inside line. Without the draft support of his teammates, I don't expect he would leave Ogle high and dry, although it would be pretty entertaining to listen to those team communications if that was the case. Let's see who it's going to be at the line. Is it going to be Robinson with a credit for a lap led? Yes, it is. Ogle showing briefly in second as he gets a little bit out of shape. Not sure if he got a push from Hill there. Now it's showing Robinson, Moore, Ogle, 1, 2, 3. Isaacs and Hill round out the top 5. But it is still a 16-car shootout here up front. We've gone 40 laps clean and green. Then are we going to start to see the green flag cycle here in Atlanta? I've got to say, this is lending itself to some great racing so far this evening. And we're just kind of rocking and rolling at this point. Haven't got to the first green flag stop of the night. And if we keep this field bunched up until closer to the checker, it's going to get pretty wild here in the evening. So look at this up front. It's Robinson, Ogle, Hill, the three Team Miata teammates. Moore and Hurley going side by side for fourth. We're focused in on Jerry Isaacs, the number 51. Qualified on pole now, sitting back in sixth. But I think really this is just kind of drivers having a good time and putting themselves in a good position for the pit stops later on. I don't think there's going to be any big breakaways, but I will say these lines are getting a little bit squirrely here. It looks like that second pack, 17th back, still losing a little bit of time. I show McDaniel about 15 some odd seconds back from the lead pack. So if that second pack wants a chance at the end of this thing, we're not even to the halfway mark, but they've got to be really hoping that they hit these pit stops perfectly. As I saw somebody sliding around there, it was Brian Lynch going for a wild ride, the number 9. Oh, and Lynch might lose the pack here. He's about a second back from Lindsay. If he's caught out here in no man's land, he's in big, big trouble as he tries to get that Hooters back Chevrolet back up to speed. He can see the lead pack ahead of him, but he is in big trouble here. Now 2 seconds back from the pack. He has squarely lost the draft, and it's going to be 15 drivers up front as Brian Lynch stuck in no man's land. Looks like Brian Lindsay was in a little bit of danger of losing the pack as well. He's right about a half second back from Greg Hammond. And losing time, now about 7/10 back. Oh, Lindsay might be in trouble here. Andy Thomas, Victor Lane, Chris Sidner, Eric McCluskey, Lonnie. Oh, we've got a huge crash. Brian Lindsay has absolutely drilled somebody. Who was that? Those problems from up front. Oh my goodness. Was that Lonnie Corey, I wonder? I think it was. So let's get the replay queued up here. And that's going to be our first caution of the night. Let's focus in. Oh, Connie just missed it. Or excuse me, Corey, Lonnie Corey just missed the pit entry here. And a huge hit for Brian Lindsay. Watching the 79 machine comes down pit road a little bit hot. There's an incident up ahead. And I don't know if Lonnie just had a money shift there. Comes up into a hot track. And then poor Brian Lindsay just absolutely smashes the side of the 79. And a massive hit to bring out the first caution of the night. There's Barney, our flagman, waving the yellow. So the content has been delivered here. Now let's see how long Robinson is in his pit stall for. Looks like he's going to take 4. And a very busy pit road. Now, Greg McDaniel and Al Turner have opted to stay out here. From what I can see, everybody who came down pit road all took full fuel and 4 tires. I like Packman's idea. While we're under caution, make sure you support the local snack stand. As we roll out under eye-pacing conditions. Got him gridded back up, double file. And away we go once more at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, we always say cautions breed cautions here. And you've got drivers such as Greg McDaniel running up front on his original set of tires. He opted not to pit during the caution cycle here. The first caution, I see Al Turner and Alan Wanamaker, the 3 drivers who opted not to pit under caution. Now let's see if that works out well for McDaniel, or if he's going to get swallowed up as Ogle goes up to the high side. Ogle takes over the race lead with the accompaniment of Dan Hill and Jerry Isaacs, who all 3 drop down the inside line. Hurley out there by himself on the high side. Looks like he's got Robinson behind, trying to figure out what lane he's going to pick here. Now it's interesting, during that caution, that was caused by drivers initiating their first green flag stops, but that has put a fistful of drivers down a lap. I'm showing only 23 drivers currently on the lead lap, all of which are bunched up here together. But we might see another pit cycle around the lap 100 mark if these drivers stay true to form. But again, you've got McDaniel, Turner, and Wanamaker, who are going to have to come down pit road. They're still in that original tank of fuel. Now it's going to be Ogle enjoying the clean air. Gavin Adams sets the fastest lap of the race, a 29.48. His last time by, he hit a trap speed of 193 miles an hour. Field very bunched up. Now it's going to be Patrick Martindale, the number 93. He's up 11 spots. The fastest lap of the race, Greg McDaniel, the number 1, showing up 13 positions. But look at this. It's going to be Mark Fish, the number 42, who is up 15 spots so far here this evening as our current hard charger out on track. The single file line up front. Ogle, Hill, Isaacs, 1, 2, 3. You've got Hurley and Robinson rounding out the top 5. Now, it's interesting to me that it doesn't look as much bump drafting and play going on up front. Everybody's staying single file, but not pushing the other driver too hard. Seems like they're going to be content, maybe getting through the fuel run, if I had to imagine. Still 23 drivers on the lead lap. Looks like about the top 18 still in a pretty hefty bunch here. There's Lee Warsdale, the number 99 Ford Mustang. He's at the tail end of this pack. They built up about a 2.4 second gap over Tom Massey, who has Kevin Strandberg, Brian Lynch, Grandpa Pischke, and Al Turner. That's 19th through about 23rd in a second little bundle. Saw somebody else blinking up here in the lead pack. I don't think that was Foltz. Maybe, I think that might have been Gavin Adams, the number 30 up on the high side. We're seeing a little bit of shimmy here as drivers are jockeying around. That's Sean Foltz, Jerry Isaacs going door to door here in the battle for third. Roger Hurley hinting at some 3-wide action here. Looks to the inside line of Isaacs. Backs out of it as Foltz stays up on the high side. Foltz has the number 30 of Gavin Adams lending his support. And I believe that's also Patrick Martindale up on the top line. And looks like Everhart's still in the mix here as well. The number 71 led quite a few laps early on. Now 9th out on the track. Running well on the inside line, tucked in behind Ogle, but here comes Sean Foltz, the number 59 machine, with the support of Gavin Adams. The outside line, the high line has a big run here. They're going to be looking for Martindale, sitting third in line up in the high side to tighten up a little bit. maximize the draft and see if they can get that outside line working. Earlier on, we saw the outside line can definitely make it happen if you've got the right amount of draft support. Now we're just past the halfway mark, so drivers have been displayed the cross green and white flags. But we are officially in the back half of the race as Foltz takes over the race lead. He's now showing up 16 positions. Our hard charger, though, showing is Patrick Martindale, the number 93 machine. He's third in line up on the high side. Ooh, he's going to make it 18 positions now up top. It seems to me, from our eye in the sky, that the outside line having a little bit tougher go, keeping it in formation. That's one of the advantages, one of the many advantages, I would say, of running the inside line. Not only does it make the track smaller, as our fans very accurately pointed out, also gives you a bit of a reference mark. When you have that solid white line just outside the driver's window, keeps it easy. If you're the second, third, fourth driver in line running nose to tail, can't really see anything out of the... Oh, and here we go. I just saw something. Was that Jerry Isaacs? Ooh, I could have sworn that was Isaacs that got pushed off the inside line. Let's see if we can back that up. So I'm looking the right side of the screen. Isaacs, yes, it was. Gets tangled up a little bit. Hurley gets a piece of him. Thankfully, I thought for certain that that driver of the number 51, Jerry Isaacs, was going to get hooked and come right back up into the racing line. And we were about to see a big one here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm not sure how they were able to keep that one together. Sean Foltz running up front, up 16 positions. Gavin Adams showing second. Everhart was able to weed through the shenanigans. He's back up into fourth. Martindale, our hard charger, 19 spots as he sits in a podium position currently. Less than 60 laps left to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the YesterYear Racing Cup Series. And quite a bit of action here tonight. Alan Wanamaker rolling out of pit road in that number 74 machine. He's going to be showing a couple of laps down here. I saw somebody drag the wall. I don't think it was Martindale. Maybe Greg Hammond, I wonder? Following the number 88 up on the high side. I think that was, yeah, I'm fairly confident it was the 88 I saw drag the wall there. So in an ever-changing top 10, it's Sean Foltz, Gavin Adams, and Titanium Everhart leading the top three. Martindale and Ogle round out the top five, but it is a constant shuffle as you've got 16 drivers all in the mix here. I'm very hopeful we're going to get to see a green flag pit stop here tonight. I would rather have things shaken up with a pit cycle rather than another caution. Normally these Cup Series drivers, extremely clean and very professional. Greg Hammond fighting back up into 4th. Everhart now back into 5th. Gavin Adams doing well there, sitting 2nd behind Foltz. Now Hammond's working the inside line, side by side with Martindale, the battle for 3rd. You've got William Martin, Wayne Hufford right behind as well, trying to lend their draft support. Hammond a little bit offline there. Everhart wanted to give him a shove forward, but couldn't quite get everybody lined up. There goes Wayne Hufford on the high side, the number 75. He's going to take over 5th. Oh, are we hinting at 3 wide? I think we are, with Martindale squeezed in the middle. There's contact. Everhart gets hooked into the wall. There we go. The big one is out at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Wayne Hufford's going to get bounced around in that one. Everhart, Martin, Hufford. Yes, Martindale all tied up in this one. It's a big, big crash here, and we are weeding out some drivers rather quickly. So keep an eye out there right in the middle of your screen. Contact, and then poor Everhart gets slammed into the outside wall. Hufford nowhere to go in that one either. He gets collected. There's the 51 of Jerry Isaacs. He's tied up in that one. The 94 of William Martin. He gets it probably the worst here. Let's get another perspective. This time focused in on Martin. I can't tell if he came down, if Martindale came up, or if it's just a racing incident where everybody's trying to grab the same places here. Man, poor Everhart. If he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. As drivers are taking evasive maneuvers behind. And there's going to be some flat spots on some tires, so that's going to be our 2nd caution of the night. There's Barney, our flagman. And you're going to see everybody coming back down pit road for what I think maybe the final time here this evening. So another wild night here at the OBRL. And plenty of action for all the race fans out there. Looks like just about everybody in that pit cycle took 4 tires. I'm seeing Roger Hurley, Kevin Strandberg are the only drivers I see that might be on a 2-tire strategy here, valuing the track position more than anything. But it's not a cup race until we leave with some perfectly good crashed race cars. I'm showing 20 drivers still on the lead lap. A lot of drivers forced into retirement. Patrick Martindale, Chris Sidner, Brian Lindsay, Lonnie Corey, Robert Garisco, all out of this one. John Hastings, I believe, is going to be out as well. I'd imagine Wayne Hufford won't be able to rejoin. Larry Corey's back down pit road. Not sure how Everhart's still out on track, the number 71. That was a hard hit to the front of that machine. Safety car makes its way down pit road. Let's go with a little shy of 50 laps left to go here. Green flag is out, and we are rocking and rolling once more. Now, I'm interested to see how Roger Hurley and Kevin Strandberg will do with that alternative pit strategy as everybody else is coming out with 4 fresh tires underneath them. Now, even though it's normally safer up front, this top pack has been a little bit dicey here, with a long way to go here in this main event. I see more drivers coming down pit road. TJ Rogers, Clay Walker back down pit road. Gavin Adams up front, the number 30 machine. He's up 11 positions so far. Larry Corey getting into his pit stall. So I think a lot of drivers involved in that incident realizing the damage was a little bit worse than they were expecting. And either trying to get some more repairs done or might go ahead and just call it an evening here. Curious, we've had 2 cautions thus far. Will we have another by the time it's all said and done? We got Dustin Martinson joining us. We've had 2 cautions so far, still showing 18 out of the 35 entries on the lead lap. Doing a quick scan here, looks like 29 entries still out and about rolling here. Some in better condition than others, I must say. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this one shakes out. I'm super glad that this is one of the broadcast races, the opening of the Chase playoffs. Adams up front, Hurley in second, but Strandberg has a big run on the outside line. That's going to be Tom Ogle, the White Claw, back number 11 forward. He's second line up on the high side. Colin Massey sitting in 11th. Number 62 just clicked off a 29.46. That's going to be the fastest race lap so far. There's lap traffic on the horizon as we're going side by side for the race lead. Strandberg and Adams going to think skinny thoughts. That's Wayne Hufford. He's going to go up top, try and allow the rest of the field by nice and easy. Doesn't want to get tangled up in a 3-wide situation. But he has got a great train of drivers, and man, he is brushing against the outside wall there. A bit of a hair-raising moment. Ogle might have had contact with Hurley. That's going to force them into a 3-wide situation for third. Ogle tucks in behind the 59 of Sean Foltz. Everybody able to get through that one nice and easy, but that was another moment that almost got pretty violent pretty quickly. Strandberg in the top spot. He's up 25 spots. He's one of those drivers we mentioned after that lap 79 pit cycle under caution. He's on an alternative tire strategy. He was in and out of his pit stall 10.22 seconds. A normal 4-tire stop right around 14 to 15 seconds. But it seems like it's working well as it puts him up into a hard charger position. We once again are looking at 3 wide. Hurley on the high side, Foltz in the middle, Oval down low. Looks like the lead pack breaking up a little bit. I'm wondering if some of these drivers are thinking, hey, you know what? This is getting a little bit too dicey. Let's back out of it for a little bit and let this sort itself out. Up front, Kevin Strandberg. Historically, that's the safest seat in the house up front. As long as Adams doesn't give him an unsquare push, Strandberg's in a pretty good spot to keep the mayhem behind him. Top 4 drivers, single file here. Looks like that's going to be Pischke sitting in 5th. He's also single file right behind him. Oh, we've got another caution coming out. It's going to be Wayne Hufford and Al Turner both showing limping off the track there in turn 3. Is it ahead of them, I wonder? I think it was. I see something going on ahead. See, oh, that's a 76. That's pointing the wrong direction there. Let's focus in again on Al Turner. I don't know where Turner was going, but I could see the result fairly quickly. Poor Hufford can't catch a break. Gets a little bit airborne there. Let's see if I can get one more angle from our YesterYear Racing back chopper cam. Focus in on Al Turner, 76. Yeah, I think Turner thought he was clear there against the, I think that was the 26. And unfortunately, Turner's going to have a long view facing backwards before he's eventually sent back to pit road. I believe Turner probably hit the incident point limit there. So there's our 3rd caution of the night. Now, do we see anybody come down pit road? Or is everybody good to go on fuel here? Strandberg up front. He's up 25 positions from where he originally qualified tonight. Should be about maybe 18, 19 drivers still on the lead lap here. And I think 27 drivers still out on track. Ufford has came back down pit road. His night is over. Turner's night is over as well. Hey, we've got Huffer join us in the spectator area. What about Amiobi Racing? Unfortunately, welcoming our friend to the spectator area. But he did let us know Turner hopped on the radio, threw a virtual hand out the window and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry, that was on me." So even when there's some poor decisions made out on track, there's still good camaraderie and good sportsmanship here at the YesterYear Racing Cup Series. So we're gridded back up, double file here. It's Strandberg and Adams, your front row. Hill and Hammond, your second row. Grandpa Pischke and Sean Foltz, your third row. We got Michael join us in the spectator area. And here we go. Green flag racing once more. 31 laps left to go on the opening round of our chase playoffs. Strandberg guarding that inside line. The number 68, Hammond, the number 88, tucks in behind. Looks like that's going to be Pischke, third in line on the inside. Strandberg trying to make that machine a couple lines wide. He does not want Gavin Adams up on the high side to get that momentum going. We've seen it a bunch here. The outside line, if they get formed up proper and make some moves, and Hammond has Hill aggressively pushing that 30 machine up towards the front. Side by side for the race lead here at Atlanta. Adams showing ahead by a nose. Hill gonna try and push that 30 machine up towards success, but he breaks off a little bit, losing the bump draft into turns 3 and 4. Hammond's fallen back briefly. It looks like he's gonna be showing 5th. Strandberg showing 3rd, still on the inside line. Looks like, I think that was Hill. Yes, cleared himself on the inside line, leaving Adams up top. That's a lot of drivers all bunched up together. That looks to be about the top 17 altogether. And definitely a little bit squirrely up here in the lead pack. Machine trying to control both lines in one go. He's got Robinson tucked in behind as well. And Sean Foltz also staying up on the outside line. The number 7 of Dan Hill, he's staying glued to the bottom here. Not sure if anybody told these guys, they've got 27 laps left to go here in Atlanta. But the gloves are off as Foltz dives down the inside line. Adams up top, still side by side for the race lead. It's going to be Adams at the line by about 0.08 of a second. Adams trying to run the high line, the low line, and the buffet line all in one go here. He has been dancing up, down, and every which way you look. Volt's getting a big push from behind there from the number 7 of Hill. Hill not afraid to push the driver ahead of him up towards the front, keeping that steam built up. So if you're just tuning in, you're watching the 15 drivers in the lead pack all bunched up, nose to tail, double file, about 8 rows deep. They've got about a 2.7 second gap over 16th and 17th place. That's going to be Everhart and Isaac, who I believe are both driving wounded. But we've got 17 drivers on the lead lap. Miraculously, we still have 27 out on track. 8 drivers forced into an early retirement here as we are 25 laps left to go in this opening round of the Chase playoffs. And look how tight the pack is up front. Adams and Foltz still side by side. They've got Robinson and Ogle second in line, it looks like, on the inner and outer. No, it's going to be Dan Hill second line on the inside line. Robinson second line on the high side. Robinson trying to give a little bit of support there to Adams. But it's very tough to predict where that 30 machine, what line he's going to stay glued to. We know Hill's a good pusher there, the number 7 Ford Mustang on the inside line. Oh, and here we go, 3 wide for the race lead. Normally this doesn't end well. It's going to be Gavin Adams comes out on top with that one. We're still 3 wide, about 4 rows back. Saw somebody tagging the outside wall there. This is where it can get a little bit dicey. The number 26 glued to the high side. That's Lloyd Moore. Looking for some reprieve. I don't think he wants to be there. The 62, I believe, is going to be Tom Massey squeezed in the middle as we get sorted back out double file. And that has put Josh Robinson as your race leader. Tom Ogle second. Dan Hill sitting in third. That is a lethal combination. 1, 2, 3. Gavin Adams, he's in, looks to be falling back to 6. So it's going to be Hammond and Foltz rounding out the top 5 here. And look at Hammond willing to send it up the inside line. He's going to pull up next to Hill in the battle for third. Not going to get the draft support he's looking for, though. Kevin Strandberg diving back to the inside line. So the inside line trying to get some momentum formed back up here. As Robinson, Ogle, Hill, and Foltz nose to tail on the high side. Now Lloyd Moore's going to join them. So Strandberg, who was leading some laps here, now 3 wide, a bit on the back foot. Ooh, as it's getting really tight here. I mentioned it kind of as an aside to the spectators, half jokingly, that we haven't sacrificed enough bodywork. I think that's going to come true before we get to the white flag here. You can see drivers 3 wide, the back end starting to dance around. Roger Hurley was in a tough spot here. Oh, making contact, and there we go. I thought there'd be a crash, and that was absolutely the case. Just too many drivers trying to occupy the same position. Couldn't tell if that was Jeff Lydon or maybe Gavin Adams. Let's get the replay queued up here. Focusing on Isaacs. No, excuse me, Hurley got to go a little bit further back. Let's back that thing up, as the kids say. And that is going to be the number 26 of Lloyd Moore tied up with that one. Looks like Hurley was kind of coming up, but it's really tough to call as the track funnels in together. And does anybody else get a piece of it? The 39 of Lydon might have gotten a little bit, but all things considered, got pretty lucky there, I would say. And Roger Hurley is going to go a long way backwards as he tries to pull the J-turn. Gets about half of it. We'll give him partial credit. And this is interesting. The field back down pit road. Kevin Strandberg, Tom Massey opt to stay out. I believe that's the second time we've seen Strandberg try something alternative on strategy. So this could go really well or could go really poorly for Strandberg. The replay has been requested once more. And to that we say, okie dokie. So this is the replay queued up of Roger Hurley, Lloyd Moore getting collected. With Hurley getting nosed into the wall there. Moore hits the incident points. He gets to watch from the hot dog stand. Jeff Lyden had a little bit of damage, but all things considered, not the massive crash I was personally expecting here. We're going to try and get him gridded back up double file. Oh, a big blink there. We're going to wait for that iRacing safety car to make its way down pit road. And what should hopefully be our final restart of the night with 4 cautions under our belt. Here we go, the iRacing safety car getting ready to come down pit road. It's about to get extra exciting, I would think, because a lot of drivers now realizing they've got a chance at the win. Kevin Strandberg, Tom Massey on the front row have not come down pit road since lap 79. But they're on some older tires here. I think Tom Ogle, he took a short stop as well, the number 11 machine. So some drivers valuing the track position more than the fresh rubber or fuel underneath them. And that is 16 drivers on the lead lap, all bunched up nose to tail here. Well, let's make it 13 laps to go as they cross the line. How many drivers are going to be able to finish this race of attrition here? Kicking off the chase playoffs with all sorts of fireworks under the Atlanta sun. Josh Robinson making his way up to the race lead, charging up the outside line. He's got Gavin Adams, Tom Massey, Kevin Strandberg, and Dakota Pischke all here in the bundle. Adams giving a big hearty shove there to Robinson. Pischke following. He's third in line up on the high side. I believe that's going to be Tom Massey leading the charge to the inside line with the support of the... Ooh, who is that? Is that Greg Hammond, the 88? No, it's the 68 of Kevin Strandberg. Second in line in the inside groove. We got Wayne Hufford asking, is there a chance that we go green till the end? I'm going to say there's a chance. I'm just personally thinking it's going to be a slim one from the interesting moves made tonight. Now, the track is really fighting these drivers with how greasy it's been late into the run, but now you've got everybody mostly on fresh rubber here with 10 laps left to go, so if there's going to be mistakes, and I would attribute, or guess it's going to be attributed more towards aggressiveness than anything else. Lee Warsdale running well, the number 99 machine in the inside line. He's got the 23 of Robinson behind, but that outside line has some legs here. And there's Everhart once again finding himself in the top 5. Able to overcome some bad luck here tonight and might be able to walk away with some big points underneath his belt. Eight laps left to go. Robinson leading us through 1 and 2 here at Atlanta. Warsdale, though, takes the lead the inside line about 0.05 of a second, and it's closing as Robinson gets a big push there from Gavin Adams. Side by side we go through 3 and 4. Is this a sign of things to come as the laps are rapidly dwindling here tonight? Robinson will get credit for the lap lead with a 0.06 of a second advantage. The inside line, you've got Warsdale leading the charge. Josh Robinson's up on the high side. The 62 of Tom Massey lending his support to Warsdale. Adams giving the pushes to the 23 of Robinson. Getting ready to be 5 laps left to go as they make their way down the backstretch. Well, would these drivers show that they are show why they're some of the best in the iRacing business? Or are we going to see another big pile up to cap off the evening? And yes is the answer. Oh no, they saved it. Greg Hammond all sorts of out of shape there after a little bit of contact. The field scatters, and we are able to keep it pointing the right direction. I thought for certain Hammond was coming back up into traffic, and we were about to see a lot of drivers go home empty-handed, but somehow we keep it going. Warsdale out front, the number 99, showing as the race leader. He's on the inside, but Robinson takes back over on the high side. Oh, it's going to be close. 4 laps left to go here in Atlanta. The gloves are off. Everybody knows there is not much time left to make some big moves. Drivers having to hit these bump drafts absolutely perfectly to avoid getting somebody off center, hooking a driver in front. Because when you're nose to bumper at just shy of 200 miles an hour, one little mistake when you're this tight is a very quick way to send everybody packing. Warsdale staying committed to the inside line. Robinson up top. If the last few laps are what we judge off of, Robinson's in a good spot. The outside line, able to get the speed needed across the start-finish line. Very impressed with Everhart up on the high side as well, the 71. He's third in line in the outside line, currently showing now third on track. Oh, Everhart clears himself down the inside line. The 99 of Warsdale has to check up ever so slightly to avoid tagging the back of the 71. 2 to go. We have got a race on our hands. Robinson looking good on the outside line. Adams continues to lend his support. Dan Hill now showing up into third. Lynch in fourth with Everhart in fifth. We unfurl the white flag at the start-finish line. I would have bet a hefty dollar we would have seen another caution, but that is not going to be the case. I think there is some lap traffic up ahead, though. That is going to be Brian Lynch. No, Lynch is on the lead lap. I don't know where he came from, but he's interjected himself up into the mix. Robinson up front, but Dan Hill has dived to the inside line. It's going to be a drag race to the start-finish line here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Who's it going to be at the line? They're bumping and grinding. I showed Dan Hill by just a few thousandths of a second as your race winner. Josh Robinson in second, and Gavin Adams to round out the top 3. So we're getting them lined up for our celebratory photos, and we'll get these top 3 up here to the broadcast booth for their interviews. But what a wild finish to the night. That was some great racing amongst our drivers, as Dan Hill takes a very well-deserved victory lap here at Atlanta, starting his Chase playoffs well. And Dan Hill gonna burn it down here, the hot tarmac at Atlanta. An absolutely great finish there from the number 7. So we're going to get our drivers up here to victory lane. And we're going to start things off with Mr. Gavin Adams. So let's get him up here in the booth. Adams, Adams, you got a copy?
I got a copy.
Gavin, what a great race. It seemed like there's a lot of teamwork in play there, and you guys were really pushing hard there.
Yep, no, it was definitely a team race early on with Sean and then later on with Josh at the end. But
Yep.
good pushing.
Now, Gavin, I was going to ask, how do you know who you can push, who you need to give a little bit more space to, and what's effectively a super speedway event? Because any little misjudgment on your part, and very quickly, a large portion of that lead pack could be finding itself going home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard for me. I try to find those drivers that follow the lines that I like and seem just to be either close pushing me or I'm pushing them, and just kind of latch onto them. And Sean's like a good one. It's a good example of that.
Well, Gavin, you put on an absolute clinic of what to do in the right times. It's a lot of fun for me to watch. And before I let you go and unwind from that one, release the fingers from the steering wheel, who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen here today?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody in the OBRL, the admins, all of our teammates, the competition, just week in, week out, racing against them makes me a better driver overall.
Well, Gavin, super cool having you up here in the booth, buddy. Congratulations, and hopefully the momentum carries on in the Chase playoffs for you.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. That was Gavin Adams bringing it home. And second, up next, we've got Mr. Josh Robinson join us, number 23 machine. Josh, I know it wasn't the win you were looking for, but gotta be good. Good feeling having so many teammates up there in the top 5, top 10, and still having a shot out of it here at the end.
Yeah, that plate races are always a little bit unpredictable. So, coming out of this with a 0x and a second place finish, and I'm content with that.
Now, Josh, we had 4 cautions tonight. Did you expect things to go worse in the field, better, or was this about what you were expecting tonight?
Probably about what I was expecting. This is it's a very unique super speedway because if you get behind someone, you get a push into the corner, so you have to lift a little bit more than just not bump drafting. And then if you're the leader of a pack, whether you're on the high side or the low side, if someone's tucked right up behind you, you actually get a little bit loose. And once that happens, that can check up an entire lane. So I'm guessing some of the cautions were probably a little bit from those reasons, and it's just Atlanta Super Speedway is a very different beast.
Well, it looked like a lot of fun from our perspective, but I didn't have to drive it. But hey, first round of the Chase playoffs, an excellent second place to start it off. What tracks are coming up that you're excited for, or some that maybe you're apprehensive for later on in the Chase?
We always got I think we got Talladega left, so that's always going to be a little bit interesting because it's yet another super speedway. Let's see here. We got Bristol. Bristol's always a wild card. We got Watkins Glen next week. We roll in the Roval, so we got 2 road courses, but we got some really good tracks that I'm excited about. Kansas always offers good racing. Vegas, Homestead, and Phoenix. Those tracks are always pretty good to me.
Well, Josh, super cool having you back up here in the booth, my friend. Congratulations, a good start to the playoffs. Before I let you go, handle all the admin shenanigans, who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen?
Just shout out to my team. Just the guys over at Old Colts Miata Club. We got Dan who won the race. Congrats to him. Ogle, Brian Lynch, all those guys do a great job. We do a great job of communicating on the team. And then shout out to Gavin Adams. He was doing a great job of pushing me at the end. I kind of expected him to go low, and I think he was probably waiting for the very last lap, and he got snookered by Dan and couldn't get down there.
Well, Josh, it was a ton of fun, very entertaining show. Congratulations, buddy, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in the coming weeks.
Appreciate you doing the broadcast, James. Good to have you back out. We'll see you later.
Thank you, sir. That was Mr. Josh Robinson joining us in the second place position. But up next, the man, the myth, the MXPX legend, Dan Hill. Welcome to the top spot here. A great race in Atlanta, a clean car, and just a good points night all the way around for you.
Yeah, I won't complain with that. Anytime I can come to a super speedway and not end up dead is always a plus.
Now, Dan, I mean, we always joke that the safest positions at a super speedway is up front. Did that seem to be the case for you at Atlanta, or was it kind of everybody was at a fair amount of risk here tonight?
I mean, honestly, I think there's really no safe place. I mean, probably towards the front's better because you have less cars to dodge when the accident does happen. But I mean, even running in the top 7 or 8 where we ran most of the night, there was still stuff that happened in front of us, and it was still just guessing and hoping that you guess right.
Well, it seemed like it worked out well for you. Now, we were talking to Gavin and Robinson before the show. Did you expect Adams to stay linked up here, or did what was kind of going through your head in that final lap trying to predict the future on who was going to go where?
Well, I was pretty content where I was. I was gonna probably just stay in that top line behind Adams, but I saw Foltz come and get a huge run coming down the backstretch, and so I didn't want to let him get up there, and so I took that line away, and I wasn't really expecting to get that good of a push, but he gave me a really good shove down through the tri-oval, and that's ultimately what led to me getting it. So if it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't have won this race.
Well, Dan, super cool to have you up here in the top spot. A fantastic way to start the playoff season portion of the portion of the season. Man, I'm tired, and I didn't even have the drive. But Dan, tonight you've got the privilege, the pleasure, my friend, the final send-offs of the evening. Who do you want to give a shout to that helped make it happen?
Well, definitely Sean Foltz for pushing me there to the win. Obviously, my teammates, Josh, Tom, Mark Fish, and all those guys at Team Miata. And my wife for putting up with me racing as much as I do. And also you for what you guys do up in the booth, because you guys are fantastic and outstanding. And also Victor for keeping all of us admin group together and running this league in a great, giving it a good place to come and race.
Well, Dan, we couldn't do it without you guys, the drivers, as well as the admin. So again, buddy, congratulations on the great finish, and hopefully we'll see you here as the last man standing once the championship comes to an end.
I hope so, but it's going to be pretty hard to beat Josh.
Well, thank you again, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
That was Dan Hill bringing it home in the top spot here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He was accompanied by Josh Robinson in the second place position and Mr. Gavin Adams rounding out the top 3. On behalf of Butt Kicker, Victory Lane Sports, Top Flight Computers, and of course our friends YesterYear Racing, thank you for tuning in and supporting the Old Bastards Racing Cup Series. My name has been James East, and I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.